Episode 6 kicks off with a flashback to a demonkin child and his fellow cursed kids were born with the unfortunate gift of monster control. Once a handy trick for herding livestock, this power turned into a big no-no after someone got creative and used it in a war. Naturally, the world responded with its signature compassion by locking them up, feeding them meals that only a compost heap could love, and dishing out daily beatings as if they were a limited-time offer. The demonkin boy had it even worse. Born with the ability to read minds, he was treated to an extra dose of misery by hearing every nasty thought the townsfolk had about him. Yet, even with all this torment, the thought of revenge never crossed his mind. No, he preferred to endure his suffering quietly, with the stoicism of someone who knew complaining would only make things worse. Then one day, his captor decided it was time to put the boy's powers to more sinister use, unleashing monsters on a neighboring kingdom. The incentive: fewer beatings and slightly less moldy bread. The threat: more pain, a prospect the boy had mistakenly thought had already reached its peak. Lacking the ability to read his captor's mind due to a magical gadget, the boy agreed, driven by sheer self-preservation. But things didn't go as planned. In the middle of the mission, the boy lost control of the monster, which promptly broke free. Panic set in as he realized he had botched the job, likely dooming his fellow demonkin to even worse fates. However, there was a small silver lining: at least he wouldn't have to become a killer. As death loomed, he couldn't help but wish that in his next life, he might have a kind family and maybe, just maybe, a decent meal. Enter Nor, the kingdom's least likely hero. He swooped in to save the boy, much to the child's confusion. Why would someone from the kingdom risk their life for him? Both were hit with the monster's poison, but instead of healing himself, Nor used his magic to save the boy. Of course, this heroic act meant Nor soon collapsed from the poison. But not before channeling some serious self-confidence, which had roots in a childhood full of, let's just say, questionable decisions. Flashback to Nor's childhood. After his mother's death, he tried his hand at cooking with herbs he'd gathered from the forest. Unfortunately, he included dragon ruin, a plant his mom had explicitly warned him to avoid. The resulting soup was more of a death potion, but Nor managed to survive, thanks to sheer stubbornness and a little low-level healing magic. Nor, however, wasn't one to learn quickly from mistakes. Barely surviving the poison soup, he continued his training outside, only to get bitten by a poison spike snake. As if his luck wasn't bad enough, this snake was known for its deadly venom. Yet, in typical Nor fashion, he passed out. Later, Nor seems miraculously fine. He's amazed he survived but decides to bring the snake home and cook it up, reasoning that if he survived its bite, what's the worst that could happen from eating it? For once, he's right, the snake's poison has no effect on him, and the meat is surprisingly delicious. The next day, Nor decides to put his newfound theory to the test. He finds another poison spike snake and lets it bite him, curious to see what happens. Just as Nor suspected, the venom was spreading through his body much slower than the day before. Excitedly, he thought he must have developed some kind of poison resistance, his ticket to unlocking a new skill. So, he began hunting for poisonous snacks, convinced that indulging in toxic treats would lead to his big breakthrough. Sure, he occasionally collapsed from a poison overdose, but what's a little blood loss for the sake of culinary experimentation? While he never gained any poison-related skills, he found himself developing a surprising taste for toxic delicacies. Even when a monstrous frog loomed over him, all he could think about was how delicious it would taste after he defeated it. The frog tried to squish him, but Nor executed a perfect backflip to dodge the attack. Initially, the frog's powerful poison knocked him down for a moment, but he quickly built up immunity. As they fought, Nor shattered the frog's claws and delivered a well-timed strike that broke its teeth. Realizing it was losing, the frog charged up a massive poison blast. But to Nor, it was just an opportunity for a free meal. Before the frog could unleash its toxic power, Nor slammed its mouth shut, causing a spectacular explosion of frog guts and poison. Feeling victorious, Nor couldn't help but wonder how such a toxic creature ended up in this field. Suddenly, he remembered the kid behind him and turned to check on him. The boy assured him he was fine, though he looked a bit pale, and mentioned needing healing from Lin after the chaos. When Nor asked what the kid was doing out here, he sheepishly admitted he had brought the frog, promising to deliver it to the city. Nor's mind started racing. This kid must be a frog farmer, desperately protecting his precious poisonous meat. Feeling guilty about ruining the boy's delivery, Nor offered to pay him back over the years, but the boy waved it off, saying it didn't matter. Curious, Nor asked how a kid like him managed to wrangle such a monster, leading the boy to reveal he had the ability to control monsters, something he was born with. Impressed, Nor began to imagine how useful that power could be. When the boy broke down in tears, overwhelmed that someone found his abilities useful, Nor saw a bit of himself in him and assured him he had a bright future ahead. Just then, the others arrived, and Lin insisted on healing Nor, who was still basking in the glow of victory. She couldn't believe he survived a hit from the Black Death Dragon, known for its lethal poison. Lin recalled a technique called Sacred Spirit, which took years to master, yet here was Nor, seemingly achieving it in record time without even knowing it. As Lin processed this revelation, she realized the boy was demonkin, a race usually met with distrust. But Nor thought nothing of it and offered the boy a ride in their carriage. Lin hesitated, reminding Nor that demonkin were often treated as enemies, especially since the boy had inadvertently caused a mess. But Nor felt compelled to help, remembering the boy's determination to deliver the frog. When he asked about the person he was supposed to deliver it to, the boy admitted he had no clue, as he was blindfolded during the journey. Lin realized the boy had likely been forced into this situation and decided they should help him. However, there was a significant problem. Demonkin were banned from entering Mithra. Just then, a mysterious man appeared, surprised to see the boy alive, as he had expected Rollo to have met his end. And that's a wrap for episode 6. If you're as hooked as that poor frog on Nor's sword, make sure to give this video a thumbs up. Hit that subscribe button and tap the bell icon so you don't miss out on the next wild twist. Come on, you know you're curious about what happens next.